How are you, Mr. Abdullah? How are you, beta? Fine. Can you hear me? Okay.
Hello.
Today our topic is electronic configuration, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
for
sir.
this electronic configuration, we are first looking at this PowerPoint from Nock Hardy, and its contents are
Yes, sir.
the Bohr atom levels and sublevels, rules and principles, orbitals, rules for filling orbitals, Aufbau
Yes, sir.
principle, electronic configuration of elements starting from first one till 36th one, and how to write the electronic configuration of ions. So before you start, it will be helpful to know that electrons can be found outside the nucleus in their particular energy levels called shells. So keep in mind, electrons are always revolving around the nucleus in their particular shells or the levels or the particular subshells are also there. So first 20 elements configuration, if we want to know, just check what is the shape. Usually if we talk about the shape, S, P, D, F are the sub levels, so accordingly we will talk about. So overall, if we check the Bohr atom, this is the previous thing, that first shell contains 2 electrons, second 8 according to 2n square formula, third 18, fourth 32, and fifth shell 50 electrons. This idea was given by the Bohr, and he told that energy level could hold the maximum number of electrons according to this formula, 2n square formula. But this was an incomplete model. This was unable to give details about the movement of electrons around the nucleus. Then there were some other aspects of this, like if you talk about the levels and the sub levels, if you are going to increase energy levels, overall they are saying that, for example, level 1, 2, 3, 4, when they studied the spectrum of hydrogen atom, they were actually, that was astonishing for them, that energy levels were not equally spaced. Means when the gaps were there between the levels, like gap between level 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3, and 3 and 4 onwards, when they were going to increase the levels, what they saw, the gaps also started increasing smaller as the levels got further. What does it mean? There will be more
Sir, then,
electrons. When there will be more electrons, they will be having more pulling, more shielding effect, so they will have to come closer to each other, so their gaps will be smaller ones. Do check this diagram to show the main energy levels K, L, M, N. Level 1 was actually splitted into further S
one.
level, that is the sub.
Sir, one. Sir, 1 minute. I'll just 5 seconds. I have to give the phone to another one.
Okay.
काट दो, वाला भी. Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Abdullah, when they actually studied the spectrum of hydrogen, they observed that the energy levels were not equally spaced. The energy gaps between the successive levels got increasingly smaller as they went further from the nucleus. So it means that the first shell, that is called the K shell, is actually having just one orbital called s orbital, and in s orbital maximum how many electrons can be there?
Sir, 2.
Only 2 electrons. So when they observed the second shell, that was L shell, they observed further how many sublevels?
2 sublevels.
S and P. In S
P.
maximum 2 electrons, and in P subshell
Maximum
6 electrons.
6 electrons.
So that's why the previous claim was true, that K can occupy maximum 2 electrons according to 2n square formula. If number of shell is first one, so it can occupy 2 electrons, but actually these electrons were present in which orbital? In S orbital.
Sir, orbital S.
Yeah, showing by opposite spinning of their arrowheads, because when they both are negatively charged, they will not be shown by the similar arrowheads. They must be shown by the opposite arrowheads. So in the L shell, number 2 means when there is 2 square 2, total 8 electrons, but actually these 8 electrons were arranged in 2 suborbitals. In first, that is the s orbital, there will be 2 electrons, and the remaining will be in the P subshell or P orbital. So that's why overall 8 electrons were completed here. When they observed the third one maximum can occupy how many electrons?
Sir, 18.
18 electrons. But actually this third one was having S, P, even D. How many S can occupy?
Sir, 2 electrons.
P.
P, sir, 6 electrons.
And D.
Sir, 10 electrons.
10 electrons. Now what is the total?
Sir, 18.
18. So overall in the third level or the shell, further there were how many subshells?
Sir, 3 subshells.
3 subshells. And now if we talk about the fourth energy level, that can be having how many total electrons?
Sir, 50?
32.
32.
But
32.
actual rating was S, P, D and F. In S, how many electrons?
Sir, 2 electrons.
2. P maximum?
6 electrons.
D maximum?
10 electrons.
And F maximum?
16 electrons.
14.
No, 14 electrons. 14.
So, but keep in mind, this filling is only possible that if you have all the available electrons, but it's not mandatory, of course. Proton number increases step by step. So overall, if we have only 3 electrons, then you will say that in the s orbital there are how many electrons?
2 electrons.
2 electrons, and then you will say that in the p there will be?
It has 1 electron.
No, if total 3 are there, then s orbital will be fully occupied.
Full.
But
then in P there will be 1.
P will be only 1 electron. So we will say P shell is in the filling process, right?
Yes, sir.
In the same way, if we are having more electrons, for example, if we have 18 electrons or the 19 electrons, so first we will fill the s orbital, then we will move towards the p and s of course first s of the second one. So accordingly they have changed their names. If this is the first shell, this is the first s. If this is the second, then the s name is second s, 2s, right? If the s belongs to the third one, then its s name will be 3s. If the s belongs to the fourth level, then s name will be 4s. Accordingly, there will be 2p, 3p, 4p, in the same way 3d, 4d. So we will work on this in detail. Actually, this is according to the available electrons, right?
Yes, sir.
Now let's start for the next one. That was just the introduction. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Now let's check the next slide. There was actually mainly there was Heisenberg uncertainty principle, then the Aufbau, then the Pauli exclusion, Horn's rule. All these rules were actually assisting how to fill the electrons in their orbitals and suborbitals, right? Because
Yes, sir.
the problem was electrons position and momentum. Electrons are always moving, you know. They are not going to stay at one position. Exactly, you can't tell that exactly this is the location of electron. Continuously they are moving. So how can you predict the exact position and momentum of the electron simultaneously? This means you can't say exactly where the electron is. So because of this, Mr. Aufbau told that electrons try to enter in the lowest possible available energy level. It means filling starts right after the nucleus, right?
Yes, sir.
Filling will not be from the outermost. Filling must be, this is logical, that with the nucleus, then filling must be started from the lowest level.
First set.
Then if the
Yes.
electrons are further available, accordingly the filling will be continued till the availability of the electrons. So accordingly they will go in their highest level energy. So with the nucleus they will have lowest energy level, and as they will go away from the nucleus, their energy will also be higher and they will get more unstable. So the most stable electrons are which are closest to the nucleus.
Nucleus.
And Mr. Pauli also told that two electrons, of course, can go in each orbital, but they must have opposite spin
Opposite side.
because both are negatively
Spin.
charged. They have the shielding effect. They are pushing each other. They are not attracting, so they must be shown by their opposite spin.
Okay,
Then
sir.
there was Mr. Horns. He told that when orbitals are degenerate mean having the same energy, then the electrons will try to remain unpaired. This thing right now will not be very clear until we go ahead. We will talk on the Hund's rule also, right? So actually we are
Sorry, sir.
going to fill the. Are you feeling okay? Why coughing? What happened?
Sir, I had fever from from 2 days.
Oh, because of
I was
overwork.
also maybe, sir.
Maybe the if you are not taking at least 8 hours sleep, it may happen.
Sir, I am taking 6 hours sleep, 5 hours sleep every night.
Oh, you must have at least 7 to 8 hours. So try to get
Yes, sir.
some good sound sleep. Okay, let's take the next slide. So finally, what we will say, whenever we are going to define orbital, we will say a region in space where finding the electrons is probably more possible. Means the finding of electron, the probability of finding the electrons is highest. We will not say even then that exactly this is the location of the electrons. We will say where most probably we will say that electrons are here. Then we will say this is the orbital. And
Sir, but when we won't know where the orbital is, but they are in a circle, or is it different? They move in a circle, yes. They orbit in a circle.
we can't say that exactly the very exact circle. They may have the opposite spins like this also, like that also, but actually we assume that whatever we are observing the cloud, that electronic cloud, when anything, even the Milky Way, you try to, when look at the stars, when you see more Milky Way, you predict that here would be more clusters. So in the same way, in the electron microscope, when they check that they are having some more amount of electrons there, there will be more cloud, and accordingly they will study. But exactly they can't touch that this is the electron. So overall,
Okay.
they have assumed about the shape of the orbitals. So overall, S orbital they will say is spherical,
Okay.
and in every principal level it has only one S maximum. For example, in previous, if you do remember, right now we have discussed 4 principal levels. Right now we had discussed level
SPDF.
1, 2, 3, and 4 according to the shells,
Yes.
main orbitals, but we had written each S in them. So this will be 1s, this will be 2s, 3s, and 4s. Every every main orbit will have only one S
One.
orbital, right?
So
P
don't we
or
write numbers with them, like 1S,
yeah,
2S,
yeah,
3S,
yeah. We
4S?
will give them.
Okay.
We will give them numbers.
Okay.
And first one is not having any p orbital. P orbital starts from the second one, right?
Yes.
And maximum there could be then total how many p's? 1, 2, and 3,
3P.
right? So
Okay.
total there will be 4s. Total there will be 3p in these 4 orbitals. And now how many d should be there overall
Sir.
from
2,
3
sir.
upwards?
2Ds. But it's written 5, but I don't understand why it's 5.
Yeah, actually they will go away from the 5th, 6th, then accordingly they are telling that
Oh, okay.
the transition metals whose proton number is quite higher, then not possible to accommodate in only 4 orbits. They may have 5th one, 6th one accordingly, but total maximum are so far 5, 5d,
Okay.
right? But they will start from the third one. So D 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
5.
And F total are 7 starting from the fourth one. So F 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Overall the numbers you need to remember total S will be maximum 4 according to discovery of protons. Total P will be maximum 3. Total E will be 5 and
5.
total F are 7. But this
Sir, then for
depends
example,
upon their availability.
sir, for example, in level 5, will there be any S?
Yeah, S will also be there.
So, sir, if they are saying like one in, if P is, for example, in just 3 levels,
Yeah.
and then where they will 3 will be there in level 5? P will be there in level 5?
P may not be there, but actually now when we are coming towards the filling, you will get the answers of all these queries. When you will check that diagram, a particular diagram, how to fill with the help of that diagram, and this will become very easy for you. There will be no issue at all. So orbital mean any 3D shape which is having the probability of having that electron. We will say according to Heisenberg, you cannot say exactly where the electron is, but you will say electron might be here. So orbit is different, orbital is just different. Orbitals are sub shells, orbit is the main shell. So don't confuse an orbital with the orbit, right?
Orbit is K and orbital is S.
For example, if you are living there and if you are having a house, it would have just a house, a home, but may contain 3, 4, 5 rooms. So overall house is your orbit, but these rooms
and
are
everything
your
inside is
orbitals.
orbital.
Yeah.
Okay.
So orbital, if you talk about the shape of the orbitals, S orbital, according to their science logic, they say that make it as the spherical one, but of course it has the axis, x-axis, y-axis, z-axis will be shown when we will work on the overlapping. Overlapping will also be there, right? Oh, so overall, when we talk about their orbits, you may say S shape is spherical. And what about the shape of the P? Dumbbell.
Dumbbell shape.
Dumbbell shape means